Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to test a total of 19 affordable drugstore sunscreen sticks for you and give you my opinion on which ones are the best option for you to purchase. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you aren't already, please hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow over on Instagram. If you missed the latest video, please go check it out. I'll link it in the upper right hand corner for you to check out. It is for CoverGirl's new matte liquid lipsticks, basically. So if this is your style of lip product, make sure you go see those swatches. All the sunscreens will be linked in the description box below, and if I can, I will also have them linked through YouTube's feature for linking the products for you. Let's talk first about why you might want to consider using a sunscreen stick. As someone who wears liquid sunscreen every single day, there are specific occasions where I prefer and will make sure that I have a sunscreen stick. For me, it is mainly when I am going outside. So if I have a day where I know I'm going to be out all day, doing a hike or doing an outside activity, then I make sure to pack a sunscreen stick. They are much more convenient for travel. They take up less room, they're less bulky, they're very lightweight. They don't carry the risk of exploding in your bag and getting sunscreen everywhere. So if you are traveling on an airplane, they are also a great option. And probably the number one reason is because when you apply them, you don't have to put the product all over your hands and use your hands to apply it to your face or your body. And especially if you're in an outdoor setting where you don't have access to soap and water, where you can make sure you have clean hands before you do that, having a stick form to apply and just glide across the face without using dirty, grubby hands is really a nice option. So here is how I determined which of the products qualified as affordable or drugstore sunscreen sticks. There isn't a specific definition for which products fall in that category. So for me, how I defined it is that the product was under $20 and I only focused on sunscreen sticks that were an SPF of 50 or higher, although they're all 50. The reason why I didn't include sunscreen sticks that are less than 50 is because, like with any sunscreen, but really especially with spray sunscreens and stick form sunscreens, you have to use a lot more product than you think you do and probably want to. So the SPF 50 minimum requirement ensures that you get a decent, acceptable level of sun protection, because truthfully speaking, you probably won't apply enough of the product to actually get an SPF 50 rating. So if we are ballparking around an SPF of 30, that's still a decent, acceptable level of SPF. So I wanted to make sure it was at least SPF 50, knowing that the actual level of protection you're gonna get is almost certainly gonna be lower. Oh, the last thing is I didn't choose any baby formulas. I wanted to keep them adult formulas, although I did make a mistake on one of them. So there's one baby formula included in this roundup. All right, let's get into applying and testing out these sunscreens. I want to know, of course, what the ingredients are, how much product you get for the price, so how affordable it is, and how do these apply and how do these feel and look on the skin. Oh, and one more thing, these are a mix of mineral, chemical, and some mixed formulations. This new skincare kit that I got from Dear Klairs, they are also a Korean skincare brand. This is their most loved trio. This is, I think, a full size of their Supple Preparation Unscented Toner. I have used a full size bottle of this previously. That's what it looks like, and it has almost like more of a gel texture to it, like a thin watery gel. And this really truly is great if you have skin that's being very reactive, very sensitive, or you've done some like skincare treatment or something that is making your skin feel irritated. This is really a nice way to soothe it without any risk of having ingredients that will further irritate your skin. This is a little more than half an ounce of their freshly juiced vitamin E mask. And this one is, I think, a full size. It's 1.18 fluid ounces of the pure vitamin C and centella Asiatic extract, freshly juiced vitamin drop. This has ascorbic acid in it, and then the vitamin E mask has niacinamide in it. This one also has fragrant oils in it, like lavender oil. What else? There's eucalyptus oil. So that is something where I wouldn't otherwise personally buy this product separately, because I don't want a whole bunch of those fragrant oils on my face. But this product, the pure vitamin C that's in here. Also centella asiatica is in here. It comes in a dropper bottle. This also has centella. It has a little bit of orange oil in here, which is not my favorite, but otherwise it doesn't have any added fragrances. Again, kind of a watery gel texture. And feels sort of like a serum does. Nice and lightweight on the skin. Great product to apply in the morning, before your other skincare, and before your sunscreen. This one is the Equate Kids Sunscreen Mineral Containing Broad Spectrum SPF 50 Stick. I told you I aim to not get any kids versions, but this was a mistake. And I think the kids version is the only one that Equate has. Equate is Walmart's generic brand. You get 1.5 ounces, 42 grams of product. This is what the packaging looks like. Twist on the bottom, that's pretty much all of them. Relatively short ingredient list. The sunscreen ingredients are homosalate, octocrylene, and zinc oxide. I'm gonna apply it to this half of my face. There is slight, maybe even not even so slight. Where did that pink? You can see that there is a white cast. So if you're building this up to the level that you probably should, it's probably gonna look white on your skin. Ooh, it is pilling pretty noticeably. Look at that pilling of my skin there. This formulation is not great, at least for the face. All right, cannot say this is a great formulation. Next one is the Up and Up brand. This is Target's generic brand, the Sports Sunscreen Stick SPF 55. You get 1.5 ounces, again, 42 grams, same as the previous one. This retails for $6.29. So per ounce, I think more expensive than the Equate one. That's what it looks like. And a look at the ingredients. The actives in this one are avobenzone, homosalate, octosalate, and octocrylene. Notice how this doesn't have zinc oxide in it, so it does not leave any white cast the way the Equate one does. Also spreads a little more nicely and easily. Definitely superior in terms of elegance of finish and ease of application. Yeah, so the Up and Up brand versus the kids brand. I guess technically for kids, you don't care as much about the elegance of the finish, but I would definitely choose the Target brand over the Walmart brand in this instance. Yeah, see that horrible pilling of the Equate brand one? I will say that the Equate one, or I'm sorry, the Up and Up one, the Target one, does have a more, I don't want to use the word suffocating, but it does have more of a feel where you can tell it's on the skin and kind of on a layer, in a layer on the skin, whereas I don't get that feeling on the Walmart Equate side. So this one, in some sense, feels a little more, I don't want to say heavy, it feels like there's a film on the skin more so. This one also has slightly more tacky feel to the finish than the zinc one. Next up, Banana Boat's Sport Ultra. This is SPF 50 plus, and this is 1.5 ounces, 42.5 grams, slightly more. Retails for $8.37. Deodorant stick style. Here are the ingredients for the actives. We have avobenzone, homosalate, octisalate, and octocrylene. Banana Boat notes that it's free from oxybenzone and octinoxate. Now, because we can see from the ingredients that there's no zinc, as expected, shouldn't be any sort of white cast. Goes on easily, glides nicely over the skin. Noticeably, well, slightly bigger packaging, I should say, even though the amount is similar to most of the ones from the drugstore we're reviewing. Okay, nice and easy. Clear, non-tinted, no white cast finish. Next up is from Blue Lizard. This comes in new packaging now. It's like a more blue, all around bluish green sticker on the front. This is the Sensitive Mineral Sunscreen Stick, SPF of 50 plus. And this is a pretty small amount of product compared to the other ones that we typically are reviewing. This is only half an ounce versus 1.5 ounces or 14 grams of product. The retail is $9.22, so way more expensive per ounce than the other ones that we are seeing. And taking a look at the ingredients for this one, we can see that the active ingredient is zinc oxide, no other sunscreen actives. You can kind of see it's caved in the middle there. I guess the one advantage of having smaller packaging is easier to travel with, lighter weight, can get in smaller nooks and crannies more easily. This, can't tell if it's because it's caved in the middle or because of the formulation. It doesn't glide across quite as smoothly. There's more drag on this. What I'm shocked by is how there's no white cast, because having just zinc oxide in the formulation, that screams white cast to me. Color me baffled. I don't really understand how this one doesn't have any sort of cast. I'm sure one of you can explain that to me in the comments section below, but both of these are clear in finish. I will say the one from Blue Lizard is ever so slightly more heavy and noticeable in finish on the skin. The one from Banana Boat, surprisingly, it feels really weightless. I'm saying surprisingly because I kind of associate Banana Boat with more old school, typical white cast, sticky, heavy feeling sunscreens that come in a bottle. But this one is really elegant on the face. This one pretty elegant too, although I don't like the application as much on that one. And of course, way less product for the price. Neutrogena has a lot of versions of the sunscreen stick in their line. I think these are all the ones for adults. They have 2 mineral ones, so I will apply those side by side so we can compare. These are both 1.5 ounces, 42 grams, as we're seeing a lot for these products. Let's start with the Mineral Ultra Sheer, SPF of 50. Here's the packaging. And in terms of the ingredients, we see that the sunscreen active is zinc oxide. All right, so this side. So you see, you definitely get that white cast from the zinc oxide. This applies more smoothly though than the stick from Equate. But clearly a white cast on the skin. Whoa. And again, it makes that pilling really noticeable. Very unflattering. See if this is any better. This is the Sheer Zinc Mineral Sunscreen Stick, SPF of 50 plus. I think this one is a little harder to find. On Amazon, this retails for $21.99, but you should not have to pay that much for it. I don't believe I paid that much when I purchased this. I think I purchased it through Walmart though. Right now it's not showing up as available. Looks the exact same. Here's a look at the ingredients, and once again the sunscreen active in this is going to be zinc oxide. It'd be nice to compare head to head which of these has more of a white cast, because some people do prefer, they say, oh, I only use mineral sunscreen, or I only use chemical sunscreen. A lot more people say they only use mineral sunscreen, so when you do that, white cast is something you frequently have to consider. This one applies easily, but you still get very noticeable white cast. Look at my face. I look like a ghostly creature. And it is a little more smooth on the skin. The pilling issues are not as drastic, but you are still definitely getting random specks of product and pilling of the product. And they both feel a little bit noticeable and heavy on the skin. The finish is not, it's a little tacky, not super tacky. But yeah, unless you're someone who doesn't care about the aesthetics, you're going surfing or whatever, I would not recommend this for the aesthetics of the finish. All right, so for a non-mineral alternative or option, Neutrogena's Beach Defense Water Plus Sun Protection, SPF of 50 plus, and same dealio, same amount, 1.5 ounces, 42 grams of product. This retails on Walmart for $9.88, much more affordable than the other version. Here's a look at the ingredients. Noticing that these mostly are all fragrance free, but this one does have fragrance listed at the end. And the actives in this one are avobenzone, homosalate, octasalate, and octocrylene. Let's see how it goes on clear. Yeah, if you've tried certain Neutrogena sunscreen before, you'll recognize the fragrance that's in here. Glides on really smoothly, more like a gel. It's a lot slicker in application. This one has a much shinier, oilier finish than the couple of other chemical-based sunscreen sticks that we have tried. That is pretty unflattering because it looks really like a slick sheen on there. I do not like that part, and I don't like that it has fragrance. Tocobo's Cotton Soft Sun Stick, SPF of 50 PA+++++. This is a Korean brand, and that's what the packaging looks like. Very elegant packaging, and this one, the entire bottom twists up. It has like a blue tint to the stick. This retails for $17, and you get 19 grams or 0.67 ounces. So definitely less product than the other drugstore ones. Here's a look at the ingredients. To me, this looks like it is a mixed sunscreen. There's minerals, mineral actives, and then quote unquote chemical ones, including octocrylene, ethyl hexyl salicylate, ethyl hexyl, methoxycinnamate, I don't even know how to pronounce these, hexyl benzoate, a few others, and titanium dioxide. I'll highlight them here so you can see what they are. This does not surprise me because we are very behind. When I say we, I mean the United States is very behind in terms of the use, approval, and frequency of much more advanced sunscreen active ingredients. And so when you are able to purchase products that are made in Europe or in Asian countries, you'll tend to see ingredients that you're not used to seeing. And wow, it's just so elegant. Oh, there's definitely a scent to this. I took a look again at the ingredients. I was so distracted by the sunscreen actives that I missed that this does have fragrance added to it, which is unfortunate because look how much more elegant of a finish this has. It's just so much clearly superior to the American brands. It has a matter skin-like finish. It is clear, even though there are some mineral sunscreen ingredients in there. There's no white cast, no blue cast, in case you were wondering about that too. It glides over the skin. It has a more powdery finish. There's no sticky feel to the finish like with pretty much all the other ones. Ugh, look at that. Yuck. Pretty much all the other ones that we have tried. Oh man, it's just so much nicer. Neutrogena Beach Defense. Tocobo. Just wish that they hadn't put that fragrance in there, but you know what? I'll take it over this one any day still. Sunbum, they have different versions of this, SPF 30, kids version, etc. The Mineral Sunscreen Face Stick, SPF of 50. This size is 0.45 ounces or 13 grams. This retails for $12.49, so definitely more expensive per gram or ounce. But again, might be more convenient. Suffers from that same caved in stick, at least initially. Looks very much like chalk. Here are the ingredients. I'm actually a little surprised to see that they hadn't added that banana fragrance that Sunbum is known for. The active sunscreen ingredient is zinc oxide. It does have an interesting smell to it. I don't think it's from any added fragrance. It's just whatever the natural ingredients are in there. This has a bit of drag to it. Ooh, it's a lot of drag. I think of all of the ones we've seen and tested so far, this has the most drag. Obviously very stark white cast. Wow, I think this has the strongest white cast of the ones we've tested so far. This feels really, really bad on the skin. I often wonder why companies even make products like this, especially because this one is literally called Face Stick. So it's not like they're saying, oh, we just expect you to do classic 80s surfer and just put it across your nose, or we expect it to use it on the body. It's literally intended to go like this on someone. Why would someone do this? Why? Aveeno's Protect and Soothe Mineral Sunscreen Stick SPF 50, 1.5 ounces, 42 grams. Retails for $15.67. Looking at the ingredients, this is fragrance free and the active is zinc oxide. See, this one glides more normally, has much less resistance, and even though it has a white cast, compared to the Sunbum one, you would almost be tempted to say it's workable. Although, you know, I think if you weren't seeing it compared to this, it would be still a pretty Pretty stark, noticeable, unflattering white cast, but it glides so much better across the skin. Doesn't have that same level of drag. And even with a white cast, looks much smoother on the skin. See the Sunbum one versus the Aveeno one. Not as tacky in terms of the finish as I thought it would be, given how unflattering it looks. All right, two other similar drugstore brands, Cetaphil versus CeraVe. We'll start with CeraVe's sunscreen stick, SPF 50 with invisible zinc, so we'll see about that. Smaller packaging, as you can see, it is 0.47 ounces or 13.32 grams. It's not sunken in like the other ones. And this retails for $8.99. Still more expensive than a lot of those larger sticks that we've been using per ounce. And looking at the ingredients, you can see the active sunscreen ingredients. This one is zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. I feel like most of the ones, or all of the ones we've seen so far, has only been zinc oxide. So apply, ooh, this one really drags on the skin. Maybe it just needs warming up. Okay. I think once it's a little bit warmed up on the face, it's much easier. But still doesn't glide quite as well as some of the other ones we've been applying. And you can see what they mean by the invisible zinc or Invisi-Ink. What do they call it? Yeah, invisible zinc technology or formulation, because it does have a white cast, but it's really trying to not leave a white cast. It's definitely a lot more manageable than the other mineral sunscreen sticks we've been applying. So far, I would definitely recommend this one if you want something that is not a chemical, quote unquote chemical, sunscreen stick. This has been the best one so far. It doesn't glide quite as easily. Maybe warm it up in your hand before applying. But other than like the eyebrows, where it's super obvious, it's not as, like if you covered that up, it's really not as obvious of a white cast as the other zinc and, I guess I wouldn't say and, I would just say zinc-based products we've been testing so far. This is the Cetaphil Sheer Mineral Sunscreen Stick, SPF 50, 0.5 ounces or 14 grams. Retails for $8.29, so more affordable per ounce than the CeraVe one. Pretty much exact same type of packaging. A little bit of sinking in the middle on this one. Looking at the ingredients, it's like most of the ones we've tried, fragrance free, and the active ingredients, just like the CeraVe one, are titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. See, this one glides a lot more easily. Even before I warmed it up, it does not drag the same way the CeraVe one did, although it's leaving behind these chunks of product. It's probably from the fact that it was a little sunken in at the very beginning. So just smooth those into the skin. The edges, oh no, it's still depositing chunks. Interesting. We haven't gotten that with any of the other products we've tested so far. Yeah, look at that. It's always something, huh? But I would say that this is very comparable to the CeraVe one in terms of there is a white cast, but it's more of a sheer white cast. It's not like the Sunbum one where it was just out of hand. And this one smooths into the skin a little more, although this is not quite going away. A lot less drag. And see, it doesn't stick in the eyebrows the same way the CeraVe one does. Yeah, this one has a much more, like, I don't want to say tacky, but a formulation that doesn't spread and blend as easily as the Cetaphil one. But then with the Cetaphil one, you get this weird clumpy stuff you have to have a mirror for and really make sure you blend in or blend away or somehow take care of. Okay, so Cetaphil versus CeraVe. Pros and cons on each one of these. They both feel the same in terms of having a very slight tacky finish to them. All right, next from Babo Botanicals, their Super Shield Sport Stick SPF of 50. From now on, we have these smaller tubes that we are working with. This is 0.6 ounces or 17 grams of product. That's what it looks like. This retails for $10.99. No sinkage on this stick. Here are the ingredients. The active sunscreen ingredient is non-nano zinc oxide. Smells very sunscreeny when I hear non-nano zinc oxide. I think white cast. But you know what? This is definitely leaving a white cast, but it's not as crazy as the Sunbum one. Poor Sunbum. It's become the litmus test for a bad finish white casty sunscreen. The feel on this one is a little gloopy. It's a little oily, I would say. Feels a bit suffocating on the skin. So it glided much more nicely than I thought it would, but the finish is not nice. It feels a little tacky even without feeling the surface of it. Definitely leaves a white cast behind and is shiny in finish. Pipette, is that how you pronounce the brand? Mineral Sunscreen Stick SPF 50. Retails for $11.99 and you get 18 grams or 0.6 ounces. No sinkage in there. Here are the ingredients. The active similarly is zinc oxide. Oh, this one's dragging a little more. As it's warming up, it's gliding more easily. Yeah, it glides just fine now, I think. So, how does this one not leave as much of a white cast? I don't know. Don't know the answer to these questions, but it definitely does not leave the same level of white cast behind. There is a white cast, it's slight. I did notice in this formulation there's a squalane in here too. Again, it does feel a little like sticky, tacky on the skin, even without touching it. You can feel it's kind of heavy feeling on the skin. And I guess occlusive is the word I should be using instead of necessarily suffocating, although those things can feel kind of similar. And also kind of a shiny finish to that. But you can definitely see how much more of a white cast this side has than this side. One I am very excited to test out, e.l.f.'s Invisi-Stick Sun Touchable line, SPF of 50. And that's what the packaging looks like. Retails for $14. How much do we get in here? Oh, 0.63 ounces or 18 grams. And here's a look at the ingredients. We can see it's a chemical-based sunscreen, octocrylene, homosalate, octosalate, and avobenzone. Ooh, it's like a clear gel tinted e.l.f. situation. Oh, glides so easily over the skin. Clear without a cast, as we expect. Obviously, we're seeing a theme with the chemical formulations versus the mineral formulations. Now, I will say the one disadvantage is because these are clear, you are more easily going to miss areas that you didn't cover sufficiently sunscreen. I would say probably the only advantage of those stark white finish sticks is that you can clearly see where they've applied. So if you've missed a spot, you can go over and make sure you didn't miss it. But no cast, not super shiny or oily in finish. Next up is from Olay. One thing that surprised me about doing this is how many brands have sunscreen sticks that I never imagined they had before. This is the Glow and Protect Sunscreen Stick with Vitamin C, SPF 50. Retails for almost $20, full price $19.99. 14 grams of product, and that's 0.5 ounces. Way different packaging. It's the only packaging that looks like this. Clear gel, which shouldn't surprise us because looking at the ingredients, you can see it's a chemical sunscreen, avobenzone, homosalate, octasalate, and octacrylene. Ooh, has a little bit more drag than the e.l.f. one. Still glides super smoothly, but just a tad more resistance over the skin. And I'm noticing that it has more of a shiny and oily finish to it. See, this one is much more of a natural finish, maybe a little bit of a glow, but this one is more shiny, the Olay one. The Olay one also feels just a tad more occlusive. I can feel it on my skin just a little more, whereas the e.l.f. one I feel is really close to feeling weightless. As we're finishing these up, we have 3 left, and they are all from Korean brands. This is Round Labs Sunscreen Stick. It's called the Birch Juice Moisturizing Sunscreen Stick of SPF 50+ and PA++++. You pay $19, I think, on Walmart, and the amount you get is 19 grams or 0.67 ounces. I haven't been paying too close attention to the non-active ingredients for these products, but I will just say that I noticed in browsing the ingredients for this that you have things like copper tripeptide in here, niacinamide, lots of other peptides. In terms of the active ingredients, just like with the other Korean brand sunscreen, you have a lot of ones that you may not immediately recognize. Again, these are newer generation sunscreen sun protecting ingredients, including Uvinolay Plus, I think that's how you pronounce it, Uvinol T, and Tinosorb S. And that is what the packaging looks like. And it looks more like a gel stick. See, immediately glides over the skin without needing to be warmed up. 0 cast. I like the smell on this. I don't think there's fragrance added. This one twists all the way up from the bottom. Can't really describe how it smells, but I like it. Has a little bit of a sheen to the finish. Yeah, I just checked. No fragrance that I see added. Just has a ton of great ingredients for the skin in this one. All right, from Skin1004, the Madagascar Centella Hyaluronic Silky Fit Sun Stick SPF 50 with a PA++++. You get 20 grams or 0.7 ounces of product. That's what the packaging looks like. blue tinted stick. This retails for $13.95 on Walmart. Here are the ingredients. As the name suggests, has some hyaluronic acid in here, Camellia sinensis leaf extract, other good things for the skin. I don't think I see any fragrance or perfume added to this, which is great. And again, the newer generation sunscreens, Olay, Aveeno T, Tinosorb S, and some other ones too. Little tiny bit of sinkage. Oh, these just go on so silky smooth with no resistance. Ooh, this one has a much matter finish. This will be a good comparison side by side because you'll see. No cast, and you can see how much more matte this is compared to the other one. You can feel them a little bit on the skin. I wouldn't say they feel super occlusive, but can feel them. Oh, and this feels much more matte in finish and powdery. And this one has more stick to it. And finally, last, absolutely not least, is Beauty of Joseon's Matte Sun Stick with Mugwort and Camellia. I left this for last because this is the first sunscreen stick I ever used and the one I've been using the longest. I've been using this product for 2 years now. It retails for $15.99. You get 18 grams or 0.63 ounces of product. This is what this looks like. This is the one that has been in my outdoor bag for a while. That's why it's kind of dirty on the outside. SPF 50 PA++++. When it comes to the ingredients, you have a lot of emollient based or functioning ingredients in here. There's also Camellia sinensis leaf extract, some hyaluronic acid in there too. No fragrance or perfume added, which is great. And like with the other Korean sunscreen sticks, you've Olay and T and Tinosorb S. This has the slickest feel across the skin out of all of them, including the other Korean brand sunscreen sticks. I don't know that that necessarily equates to it gliding across more easily. It just, I'm noticing in terms of how it feels, it's just the most slick of all of them. I do like that it has a matte finish. And zero white cast. So you can see compared to my natural skin's finish versus with it on, it's actively mattifying. And this has a very powdery finish without a lot of stick, but there is a little bit of a feel to it. It's not completely weightless on the skin. All right, so let's talk about what I think are winners in different kinds of categories. Before we do that, just some concluding thoughts about sunscreen sticks in general. Sunscreen sticks are, I find, much more durable than your typical liquid sunscreens. Just the type of formulation, they adhere to the skin and they last on the skin more. They tend to be much more water resistant. The flip side of that is that even the best sunscreen stick formulation will never feel as weightless as your favorite liquid sunscreen that feels weightless on your skin. And the other part of that is they are significantly more difficult to remove. All the sunscreen sticks that I have ever used and tested, including the ones from this video, I use a cleansing balm to try to break it up first. And then I end up doing 2 rounds of using my gel cleanser. And then sometimes even then, it still feels like there's a tiny bit of film or product left on the skin. So you will have to spend more effort and time removing these types of, this formulation of sunscreen product. So in the roundup, first, I'm gonna show you this list. This is the list of the most affordable or cheapest product per ounce up to the most expensive. So this accounts for how much product you're getting for each dollar that you're spending, not just the absolute price tag. And I was a little bit surprised at which one ends up being the most expensive, which is the one from Olay. I was expecting it to be one of the ones from the Korean skincare brands or just one of the more expensive drugstore brands. But really the three most expensive are Sunbum, Birch Lab, and at the highest, Olay. And not surprisingly, the most affordable are from Equate and Up and Up. Now, the one that I would choose as the best value, meaning not the cheapest in the absolute sense, but the one where it is the most affordable but still a pretty good formulation, I would say is the Banana Boat one, which I think is the one that surprised me the most, like I mentioned, because I kind of associate Banana Boat with thicker sunscreen formulations, but this formulation was surprisingly elegant and it is really affordable given the much more than acceptable formulation. If you want to break it down to which one is the best mineral sunscreen formulation stick, because like I said, there are people who only want to use mineral formulations, I would say it is the Blue Lizard sunscreen stick. Also kind of surprises me, again, because I kind of expected there to be more of a white cast, but it was really the one, maybe the only one, but certainly the one that did the best with not having a white cast, despite the fact that it is a mineral only sunscreen stick. That said, it is one of the more expensive sunscreen sticks. You don't get a lot of product, and overall in that list of most affordable to most expensive, I think it's somewhere in the middle. The best chemical formulation, or I would say non-mineral formulation, I would say is e.l.f, given the price point, the packaging, the ease of application, etc. The best choice if you really want that glow, if that is your style and your preference, then I would say that is the Neutrogena Beach Defense one or the Olay one. Those were the ones that had the most glowy finish. If you're on the other side of the spectrum and you want a matte finish, I think the Beauty of Joseon one gives you the best matte finish and has a beautiful formulation. If you don't want either of those things and you want a neutral finish, the most skin-like finish, so not completely matte but not adding extra glow, I would choose either the e.l.f one or the Skin1004. I think that's the brand, that one. The worst one out of the bunch, hands down, no question, is the one from Sunbum. Horrible finish to it, horrible feel, and is one of the most expensive ones in the bunch. And then last but not least, I would say overall the best pick when you consider price point, when you consider formulation, ease of application, finish, and feel, I think I would choose the one from Skin1004, but honestly, all of the ones from the Korean brands have beautiful formulations. Maybe not the one from Tocobo just because of the added fragrance in there, but otherwise, I think if you choose one from a Korean skincare brand, you are going to have an experience of an elegant formulation. All right, there's my roundup of the best drugstore or affordable sunscreen sticks you have to choose from. I think this will be a type of product that becomes more popular. Right now, it's mostly liquid and spray sunscreens that people use, but this is a category that obviously, even to my surprise, is really expanding and having a lot more options for you. Leave me a comment in the comments below what you think, if you've tried any brands that I've shown or ones that I didn't show that you really like. Let us know and share with us in the comment section, and of course any questions you have. I hope this was helpful to you and that you enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.